Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we really try to boil down complex topics from a whole stack of sources just for you.
That's the goal.
Today, we're taking a journey, metaphorically speaking, from Kenya all the way to the U.S. state of Nebraska.
Right across continents.
Exactly. We're looking at a pretty significant new labor cooperation agreement. And it sounds like more than just a standard diplomatic handshake.
It is. It seems to be about creating actual structured pathways for opportunities.
So our mission today with this deep dive is to unpack this memorandum of understanding the MOU signed between Kenya and Nebraska.
Yep, that's the one from early September.
And we really want to zero in on what it means right now, especially for Kenyan truck drivers.
That's the immediate focus, absolutely.
We'll pull out the essential facts, try to understand the practical steps involved, and look at both the promise and the real-world practicalities.
And to do that, we've got a good mix of sources. We're looking at official government announcements, direct from Kenya's Diaspora Affairs Office. We've got news reports from major Kenyan outlets, The Star, Nation Africa, places like that.
Good context there.
Then on the U.S. side, we're looking at job market data, job boards, plus crucial immigration info, summaries from USCIS, that's U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services.
Always important.
And even some local Nebraska news coverage, like KSMB Local 4, which gives some on-the-ground perspective. So it's pretty comprehensive.
Excellent. So let's start right there. This MOU, signed recently. What exactly is it? What's the core purpose?
Okay, so fundamentally, this MU, signed early September 2025 by Kenya's Diaspora Affairs, P.S. Roseline Njogu, and Nebraska's Secretary of State, Bob Evnen. It's a formal deal.
Formal in what way?
Its main goals are to deepen labor cooperation, strengthen those people-to-people ties, and this is the key part, establish legal pathways for Kenyans to get jobs in Nebraska.
Legal pathways, that sounds really positive.
It's meant to create, a structured, transparent channel for this specific kind of migration.
But I guess the immediate question many people listening will have is, okay, legal pathway, does that mean it's some kind of automatic entry, a direct ticket to a job? Or are there still big hurdles?
That's a really important distinction. No, it's definitely not a free pass.
Right.
This MOU is primarily a framework. Think of it as setting up the system for recruiting, maybe some training coordination, and placement.
Okay, a system.
And while Nebraska officials have mentioned wanting to expand later, maybe into nursing or other fields, the explicit immediate priority right now is truck driving.
Got it. Truck driving first.
But crucially, to your point, any individual hire still has to go through all the existing U.S. visa processes, labor regulations, everything.
So it's not a shortcut around the rules.
Not at all. It's more like imagine a busy highway with lots of immigration rules. This MOU tried to create a dedicated, maybe slightly better signposted lane specifically for Kenyans heading to Nebraska jobs. But you still have to follow all the traffic laws.
That's a helpful analogy. Structure, not shortcuts.
Okay, so why Nebraska? Of all the U.S. states, what makes Nebraska the focus here, particularly for truck drivers?
Well, that comes down to demand. Nebraska, and honestly much of the U.S. Midwest, has a really significant documented shortage of truck drivers.
We hear about that a lot generally in the U.S.
Exactly. And it's not just a small gap. If you look at online job boards, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, those kinds you often see hundreds, sometimes even thousands, of open trucking positions listed just in Nebraska.
Wow, thousands. What kind of roles?
It's a mix. You've got local and regional jobs needing a CDLA, that's the commercial driver's license, Class A for things like dry van trailers, flatbeds, refrigerated trucks.
The standard stuff.
Right. Then there are the long-haul, over-the-road OTR drivers, and even drivers for, distribution centers making local deliveries. Employers there are actively looking.
So a very clear, measurable need, but is this agreement coming out of the blue, or was there already some groundwork laid, some prior connection?
Oh, no, this isn't starting from zero. There's definitely a history. Oh, okay.
Nebraska officials and some employers have actually had interactions with Kenyan groups before. There were reports, I think mid-2024, about facility tours, meetings.
So they were exploring this already.
Seems like it. And KSNB Local 4, the Nebraska station, specifically mentioned examples like a company called Grand Island Express and other facilities there that have apparently employed Kenyan drivers before, maybe even sponsored green cards in some earlier efforts.
Green cards, so potentially long-term roles, too.
Potentially, yes. That reporting suggests some precedent for more permanent placements, not just temporary work. So this MOU builds on that existing interest and apparent past success.
That makes a lot more sense than building on an existing relationship. Okay, let's shift to the practicalities for someone interested. The visas, the eligibility, the legal side. This is critical stuff. What are the main visa routes we're likely talking about here?
Right. The primary route that's usually used for this kind of non-agricultural temporary work in the U.S. is the H-2B visa.
H2D, okay.
Yeah. This one's specifically designed for seasonal or temporary jobs. The employer has to prove that their need for the worker is temporary, not permanent, and get what's called a temporary labor certification.
Temporary need. That seems important for trucking. Is trucking always seen as temporary?
That can be debated, but often employers frame it around peak seasons or specific contracts. The really critical thing about H-2B, though, is that it's subject to annual numerical caps.
Oh, quotas.
Exactly. Congress sets a limit on how many H-2B visas can be issued each fiscal year, and they often run out quickly. Plus, the employer always has to petition for the worker. You can't just apply on your own.
So that cap sounds like it could be a major bottleneck. Even with this Kenya-Nebraska MOU, if the H-2B quota is filled, qualified people might just be out of luck for that year.
Yes, that's a very real possibility and a significant challenge. The caps make the H-2B program extremely competitive.
So timing is everything.
Timing is huge. Success can depend heavily on when the employer files the petition and where things stand with the annual quota. It really highlights why having everything ready to go is crucial when recruitment drives open.
Okay. Are there other visa options besides the H-2B? You mentioned green cards earlier.
Right. So beyond the temporary H-2B, some employers might be willing to sponsor workers for employment-based immigrant visas, which lead to a green card or permanent residence.
That sounds more stable long-term.
It is, but it's a much longer, more complex process with different legal requirements and, frankly, a bigger commitment from the employer. But as some reporting suggested, it has happened.
So applicants need to be clear which route the employer is offering.
Absolutely. And one last thing, sometimes the U.S. government authorizes special limited-time increases or allocations specifically for truck drivers, maybe adding to the H-2B cap for a year if the shortage is severe. But that's not guaranteed year to year.
Got it. So for you, the potential Kenyan applicant listening, what are the absolute key qualifications you'd need to have?
Okay, based on standard U.S. trucking requirements and reports like KSMB's, you'll definitely need several years of relevant driving experience.
Yeah,
Most U.S. companies prefer experienced drivers.
makes sense.
A valid Kenyan driving license is a must, obviously, and crucially, a clean driving record. They will check for serious violations.
No doubt. What else?
Age is a factor. Often you need to be at least 21 for driving across state lines, interstate trucking. Some jobs within one state, intrastate, might allow 18 to 21.
Okay.
Medical fitness is non-negotiable. You'll need to pass a Department of Transportation or DOT medical exam. That might happen after you arrive, but you need to be fit to pass it.
Health standards.
Yep, and background checks. Criminal record clearances are standard. Certain convictions can prevent you from getting a visa or a commercial license.
And what about language? How important is English?
Oh, it's absolutely critical, not just conversational
For
English.
safety, I imagine.
Exactly. You need enough English proficiency for road safety signs, interacting with law enforcement if needed, talking to dispatch, understanding load instructions, and importantly, complying with hours of service rules, which are strictly enforced.
Right, the logbooks and regulations.
It's about operational safety and legal compliance.
Okay.
And finally, the big one. You have to be able to get a U.S. commercial driver's license, the CDL.
Can you just use your Kenyan license?
No. Foreign drivers generally have to pass the U.S. written knowledge tests and the practical road skills test.
So more tests even after you arrive.
Correct. Though some programs, as mentioned in reports, might offer staged training, maybe some prep in Kenya, then the final testing in Nebraska, that could be a big help.
That structured support sounds valuable. Now, you mentioned U.S. labor rules earlier. All hires under this MOU have to comply with Department of Labor regulations. Why is that important to stress?
It's vital for fairness, really. These rules exist to ensure that hiring foreign workers doesn't undercut the wages or working conditions for U.S. workers already doing those jobs.
Protecting the domestic workforce.
Yes. Employers sponsoring foreign workers usually have to go through a certification process, proving they tried to hire U.S. workers first, and that the wage offered meets prevailing standards. Nebraska's Department of Labor would oversee state-level aspects of this. It protects everyone involved.
Okay, that's a good overview of the framework. Let's get really practical now. If I'm a Kenyan truck driver, I'm interested. What does the journey actually look like? Step by step, what should I be doing, and what are the risks?
All right, step one, and this is crucial. Monitor the official channels. We're talking Kenya's Diaspora Affairs Office website, official Nebraska state announcements, any accredited recruitment notices they put out.
Official channels only.
Yes. The sources like thestaranddiaspora.co.ke really emphasize this. Avoid unverified middlemen or agents promising jobs for a fee.
Got it. Stick to the official sources. Then what?
Get your documents ready. Your CV, obviously detailing your driving experience, references from past employers, your certified driving record abstract, police clearance certificate, any medical records, your ID, your passport. Have it all organized.
Preparation is key.
And make sure your driving experience is current and you can document it well. Then, when official recruitment drives are announced or specific employers are listed, apply through those channels.
Okay, application submitted. What's next?
Keep copies of everything, any job offer, any sponsorship letter. And when you get an offer, you need to really understand the visa situation. Is it H-2B?
The temporary one.
Right. If so, what's the exact contract length? Is it defined as temporary or seasonal? Are there provisions for your return trip? And critically, what's the wage, overtime, benefits? Get it all in writing.
And if it's potentially a green card sponsorship?
Same principle, but even more important to get the full terms in writing. Understanding it's a longer process. Checking USCIS resources can help you understand the different visa types.
And the U.S. license?
Plan for it. Find out if the program includes training support for the U.S. CDL. And ask up front, who pays for the training? Who pays for travel to the U.S., for initial housing, for the exam fees? Don't make assumptions.
Asking those money questions up front sounds vital. Which brings us to risks. What are the main pitfalls or challenges applicants need to watch out for?
Well, we've touched on some. First, the visa caps and timing for H-2B. It's capped, it's competitive. Even if you're qualified and have an offer, approval isn't guaranteed if the quota is full. Federal policies can change too.
So, managing expectations on timing.
Definitely. Second, understand the temporary versus permanent status. Many H-2B jobs are, by definition, temporary. Getting long-term residency usually requires that separate, more involved green card sponsorship from the employer.
It's not an automatic path to staying permanently?
Generally not, no. And third, the costs and potential deductions.
Right, you mentioned avoiding middlemen fees.
Absolutely critical. Be extremely wary of anyone demanding large upfront payments for a guaranteed visa or job placement. That's a huge red flag.
So how should legitimate costs be handled?
Legitimate programs usually have clear rules set by the Department of Labor about who pays for what, things like visa petition fees, recruitment costs, travel. Get all cost arrangements confirmed in writing from the sponsoring employer. Ask about any deductions from your paycheck, too.
Transparency is key. What other risks?
The licensing hurdles. As we said, you will need to pass U.S. CDL tests. It might require extra training, time, and potentially money if the employer doesn't cover it all. It's not just a rubber stamp.
It's a real requirement.
Yes. And finally, always double-check that the offered wage, the working hours, any provided housing and insurance meet U.S. labor standards. Ensure the employer is following the rules. That protects you.
Okay. So putting it all together, what's a realistic timeline someone might expect?
It varies hugely, but just for a rough idea, short-term, say weeks to maybe a few months, that could cover recruitment, initial screening, the employer filing the petition, you applying for the visa, and consular processing if it's H-2B.
That seems quite fast.
It can be, if everything lines up perfectly and the visa numbers are available. Medium term, maybe 6 to 18 months. This might be more realistic for the whole process, including travel, potential stage training, actually getting the U.S. CDL, and starting work.
Okay, a bit longer.
And longer term, if we're talking about an employer pursuing a green card, that process can easily take several years.
Years, okay.
The main point is, be patient. Timelines depend heavily on visa availability, processing times at USCIS and consulates, transport logistics, and how organized the specific employer's program is.
Good to set realistic expectations. All right, let's bring this home. Based on everything we've discussed, what are the absolute key recommendations for you, the Kenyan applicant, considering this? Top advice.
Number 1, use official channels, period. Kenya's Diaspora Affairs, official Nebraska state sources, ministry websites. Verify any offer you receive through these official routes before you commit to anything.
Don't trust random messages or agents.
Exactly. Number 2, get your documents in order and certified. Driving record, police clearance, medicals, references. Have them ready.
And when you get to the contract stage,
Ask detailed questions and get the answers in writing. Who pays for the visa application fees? Who pays for your flight? Who covers CDL training costs and exam fees? Who arranges and pays for initial housing? What is the exact salary, overtime rate, insurance coverage? What about repatriation if the contract ends?
Leave no ambiguity.
None. Clarity up front prevents major problems later.
And the warning about scams bears repeating.
It really does. Never, ever pay large sums of money up front to a recruiter or agent promising a guaranteed visa or job. Legitimate employer-sponsored programs work through official government channels and have clear rules about costs.
Right. Anything else applicants can do proactively?
Yes. Consider upskilling if you can. Maybe take extra safety courses. Practice your English, especially terminology related to trucking and safety. If relevant, look into additional endorsements for your license, like hazardous materials, though that might come later. It just makes you a stronger candidate.
Be proactive.
And if you run into complex contract issues or visa questions you don't understand, don't guess. Seek advice from a qualified immigration lawyer or an officially accredited representative.
Sound advice. So, after this deep dive, what's the ultimate takeaway? The bottom line on this Kenya-Nebraska agreement?
I think the bottom line is this. The MIWA between Nebraska and Kenya is significant. It genuinely creates a formal, recognized legal channel. It signals real interest from Nebraska in recruiting Kenyan truck drivers, and that could mean meaningful opportunities.
So the opportunity is real.
The potential is real, yes. However, success for you as an individual hinges entirely on meeting all the U.S. requirements: visa eligibility, licensing standards, the employer-specific qualifications, and you have to be fully aware of the practical limits.
Like the visa caps.
Exactly. The visa caps, the often temporary nature of these H-2B programs, the hurdle of getting the U.S. CDL. So the watchwords are diligence, thorough verification of everything, and frankly, a healthy dose of caution throughout the process.
That seems like a balanced perspective. This deep dive really paints a picture of a very deliberately structured pathway. It's quite fascinating as an example of international cooperation trying to solve a real problem, a labor shortage, while offering these, potentially life-altering chances for people.
It is an interesting model, bridging supply and demand across borders.
Definitely. It makes you think, beyond just the immediate jobs in Nebraska, how might agreements like this one, this Kenya-Nebraska Labor Pact, start to reshape broader patterns of global labor migration? Could they foster new kinds of international partnerships, maybe between states or regions rather than just national governments? And could they even perhaps change how we think about connecting communities separated by vast oceans and different cultures?
That's a big question.
Something for you to ponder as you go about your day.